I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
And that little girl was me.
You know, this my little thing. I feel that if you should ask for custody if the child is in danger and she's not fit to be a mother, right? And you have direct proof to verify that. Do not use a child as a pawn.
What the impacts of slavery, of what racism, what capitalism has done to Black people. So for him to have this opportunity to really give a moment to say, you are correct, we must figure out a way to understand Black people today. Instead, he laughed at him and made it a novelty and said, you really drank the Kool-Aid. So
Yeah. This is also about men trying to control the sexual desires and activities of their daughters because they want them to grow up to be a certain kind of woman. They want them to be domestic, they want them to be docile, they want them to be subservient, and they want them to be submissive, right? And so that is not, when you get a woman, that a wild woman rising, you don't know what to do with her because she is not living out your narrative and you're not able to control her.
Well, let's be clear. I always tell people we have to be real mindful of the Hispanic culture because Hispanics come from different places. Two demographics of Hispanics that vote Republican. Pretty sure the Hispanic coalition in Florida that he's meeting with is predominantly Cuban and Venezuelan because
Can I buy a vinyl?
You know, can I buy a?
So well versed and so phenomenal. Whether you work on a register or you're in the C-suite, you have a skill set that's so needed that someone is willing to rent your time. They are leasing your time. Figure out your promise first, not your product. What is your promise?
And so when we're talking about facing challenges of people at high risk and targeted groups and minority population, it's trauma. So you got to think about what this person brings to the table. We're not always going to get it right. One thing that we as society don't want to appreciate anymore is apologizing. I apologize. I'm sorry. And so those words, I'm sorry, are so powerful. And so individuals don't expect everybody to get it right. But when you apologize and you're really listening to try to be better, then you do that.
Safely, when it's all said and done, the police is going to protect the state. And that is why the slaughter of Black bodies and Black people at the hands of the police is such an epidemic because they are trained and they commit to a training of policing.
So my book is about my struggle, but how I overcame it. And to let Black women know, and just women of all colors. And I'm not going to just say that it's just for Black women, but Black women, we need this. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. It's okay to go get help. If you can't have a child, that means your vagina is no better or no worse than the next person. Okay?
It's Dr. Matthews, your girl, the accountability specialist. We also have our communication specialist and co-host, Mr. Wendell King II. First of all, we just like to say we missed y'all, but y'all know we be spread it thin now. We were busy. You know what I mean? Because hey, this has been a serious
Yes.
matter. Okay.
You would say it's been a serious matter. So, guys, before we jump in, I want to remind you all that we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We are Truth to Power Uncut. Please share, and like. And on YouTube, it doesn't take but 1 second to subscribe, and it doesn't cost you a thing.
Nothing. And y'all like my shirt? Thank you, Warren.
I love past tense shirts because we voted and it was done. And so it is. I said voted and it was done.
Okay, but you know what? But this is my thing. When I say that it's just been shenanigans on top of shenanigans, were you the person like I was, Wendell, like every 3-4 hours you up under that cover like this, you trying to see who won or not?
No, you know, Dr. Matthews, I was aggressively in my position that he was going to win. And I said that night, even on Tuesday night when I went to bed, I made a post and I said, listen, y'all are depressed for nothing. We're winning. We're winning right now. We're going to be winning tomorrow. And I said we were going to win by a landslide. And people were like, we're not winning by a landslide. Jake Tapper went on CNN and he said that was always a pipe dream. And look at it. It only took a few more days, but he's now winning by more votes than American politics has ever seen. He's right at 5 million and expected to be over 5 million by tomorrow.
But look But you know what was so interesting? I'm just gonna be straight up, baby. I guess because it was so many people that turned out to the fact where I'm like, Nevada, what's taking you so long? What's taking all of these other, states so long? And I'm telling you, I was in that bed, y'all. I had that cover like this. My husband was like, girl, go to bed. I'm like, this.
Dr. Matthews, I wasn't afraid. I was anxious. And I think that's what you were. Well, you were anxious. We were all anxious. Yeah, well, we were anxious because we're used to getting a president the night. We're used to going to bed with a suggested president. And so that's why everyone, but they warned us. The media really did their job. They warned us leading up that it's not going to be overnight. It's going to take days maybe. And we were still not really processing that, especially us here in Texas. Because we couldn't do mail-in votes. It was only the 65 and older and people with illnesses or handicaps. But outside of that, we couldn't do mail-in voting. So to us, we would have a president. But Nevada, Missouri, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, they allowed mail-in votes from anyone who applied for a mail-in vote ballot. So. But, he may not come when you want him, but he's right on time.
We're going to unpack a little bit more of that. But
yes.
Right here, y'all. Did y'all hear about Miss Pearly? Let's y'all take a look at Miss Pearly. Miss Pearly act like my mom.
Ain't no y'all. I just woke up. I just said something to you. Go get in your truck before you get smacked. Now, go now. I'm asking you to get out of my face. I'm asking you to quit pointing. Get your hand. Get out of my face, lady. All right. Come on, Pearl. Come on, Pearl. Come up here. Come on, Pearl. Stop. Get her hands to that truck. Goddamn it. Watch it.
She started.
No, I didn't. Ms. McClain, you started that, McClain. You walked up in her face.
I asked her what she said. And when you record this, you make sure you get the whole thing and don't slice it.
I ain't gonna slice it.
You will. And I'm pressing charges.
Well, you walked up in her face. We got everything
She
recorded.
said something.
We
and I
got
had-
everything recorded, Miss
I don't
McClatchy.
care. It's always one way with y'all.
But y'all, who are y'all?
You and anybody.
Who are y'all?
You and anybody else with a phone.
Y'all, Pearlie did a whole Doris.
Miss Pearlie. Miss Pearlie. Miss Pearlie.
Go on now.
Miss Pearlie.
I'm sorry, but she asked for it. I ain't gonna even lie.
You feel like she asked for it?
She did because she touched that lady first. Like, you violated this lady's personal space. Now, I understand you may not have the same agreement with different things. I get it, but you cross the line when you touch somebody.
Yeah.
And don't feel crazy when you get reached out and touched, right? And then you want to play the victim. With them.
Yeah.
Really put them haymakers on her.
Well, I felt, I don't know. I felt like, number one, I'm tired of Karens, right? But I'm tired of Karens, Kens, Blakes, and Barbaras. I'm tired of all of them. So I felt like what Miss Pearlie went through, I'm always over dissecting something, right? I'm always going too deep with it, I know. But what I saw in Miss Pearlie was the entire Black diaspora here in the United States. She was a Black woman minding her own business. She wasn't bothering this person, and the person kept on antagonizing, kept on inciting anger, kept on provoking her. And then when she finally broke loose and toe up, then the white woman ran and screamed that she was a victim and told the Black man, "Don't you go slice it." Because y'all, and she was being racial when she said y'all, but when everyone started saying y'all, she said you people that record, but no, you were talking about Black people. So that was a great example of the plight of a Black America right now in these states. We mind our own business, not bothering anybody, and they pick and pick. And as soon as we go off on them and we go crazy, we're obnoxious, we're ignorant, we're acting like ghetto Negroes. But you pushed us to that level. You, in fact, you forced us to get out of our skin. So the Miss Pearlies of the world deserve a Nobel Peace Prize award because she held on much longer than what anybody else would have done.
Yeah.
Because she could have went after her and kept going. But if you saw, we never saw Miss Pearlie again.
No.
Miss Pearlie did what she had to do, and she walked away from it.
Warned her to begin with. She gave her, and then you kept on provoking.
Kept on.
Until you got what you asked. Like my grandma used to always say, you keep tapping that shoulder, you're going to get what you asked.
Yeah, you only have so many times. There's only so many opportunities to put something behind you and say, I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to take the high road. Miss Pearlie this was literally because she felt like Miss Pearlie said something. And she admitted, I didn't know what she said, but I felt like she said something. And that provoked you to do all of that.
And that's why she got felt right on that face.
Yeah, it provoked you to do all of that because you felt like she said something.
At the poll.
At the poll.
They had a lot of interesting things that was happening at the polls. You had these Trump trucks trying to create like a environment of voter suppression, trying to scare the older people from voting. I seen it with my own eyes.
Well, you had the president, but you had the president applauding them and making fun of it and making jokes of it, saying that they were escorting to the poll. So I guess that leads us right into recapping. Let's recap.
Yes.
The 2020 election. If there was nothing else worth coming out and talking about of 2020, this election was it. Because we finally broke our domestic violent relationship with Donald Trump. How do you feel, Doc?
First of all, I feel vindicated. I'm waiting on him to go to jail and everybody else that's in the cahoots with him. Okay. And I really felt like he was just a rattled child who get what they want. So now you want to push these false narratives talking about they're cheating, they this, they that. Last I checked, you had Russia interfering with the last election. So now you want to try to throw the book because the thing wasn't going your way.
Yeah.
You want to turn around and make it like, oh, I'm winning. I'm this and I'm that until the mail-in ballot came in talking about winning well.
You
and
know,
I got to give a shout out to our sister Stacey Abrams because baby, she pulled Georgia through. Okay.
Yeah. What she did in Georgia is remarkable, and it is a clear example of what we can do in our states. Now we know Georgia, Georgia's
a background state now.
Yeah, we know that Georgia, Georgia is a little different. It's a little different. So we know that Georgia is very small. Although it's a very southern state, it's a very white state, but it's a very small state. Houston is the size of half of Georgia. So when people say, well, why couldn't y'all do what Atlanta did in Houston? Well, number one, we're not 75, 80% Black. But the other part of that is we're 4 times the size of Atlanta, Georgia. And this isn't a knockout to Atlanta. It's just a reality. Like population has gotten good, but ours has gotten greater. And it's just, and then we're part of all cultures coming here, not just Black people looking for celebrity. Yeah. So, but Harris County has been blue, but we almost, between Harris County and Dallas County, we almost flipped Texas. And if you ask me, we flipped Texas. They just didn't.
We just have to get those rural areas.
Well, we're still at 93. Well, we're still at 93% counting ballots. They stopped counting at 85 and had to be sued to start back counting.
Oh, well, no, but let's talk about that since we want to talk about some sued stuff. First of all, I want to give congratulations to our Harris County Clerk, Chris Hollins, and then also for our Texas Coalition of Black Democrats chair for voter relations, Carvana Cloud. When I say they showed up and showed out, because the Hot Wheels try to come here with that foolishness, try to shut down those votes, the people that were voting by in the car. Guess what? They got counted.
Yeah, well, I want to give Chris a shout out also, but I also want to give a friend of the show, and she will be back on the show really soon, our new Harris County Clerk, Tanisha Husband. She was the winner of the Harris County Clerk position. Chris was the current Harris County Clerk, and she was his chief deputy clerk. And I'm not trying to show mess or anything, but we do know that Tanisha was the one that created the drive-in polls. She was a part of the team that created the drive-in polls.
That's what it is. And I'm just gonna say, baby, don't sleep on the sisters.
Okay.
All I'm gonna say, don't sleep on them. And congratulations once again, sister. And we gotta get on the show.
Oh yeah, she will be back on the show. She's a bad cookie. She's a bad cookie. But this whole election was something else. But the great part is we had a whole show dedicated to Kamala Harris. But the reality is we have our first female vice president, and she just so happens to be, I hate when they say a woman of color. She is a Black woman with Indian roots. Okay. And that's how we're gonna put it. Okay. But
so why did this guy from Britain or whatever had got under fire by calling the Indian girl?
Yeah.
Oh, he went there.
Yeah, well, when people were surprised about that, I had to remind people really quickly that we're called African Americans and they're called European Americans for a reason. So I don't know why people love giving the Great Britain and all of these European countries passes. They were the first races. They just called us Moors instead of niggers. But before we get into that, and before we go into this next video, also remember, I've been hearing a lot of people say, well, she's not a descendant of slavery. Yes, she is. She's not an ADOS. She's not an American descendant of slavery, but her father is from Jamaica, and they were slaves there also. I know y'all didn't know that, but they were slaves also, and they had masters also, and they were sold like property also, and then they were freed like we were. So stop being ignorant. Right. They're not ADOS, they CADOS. Caribbean descendants of slavery. Okay. So, but before we go any further, let's jump into this video. I think we have Van Jones. Let's see Van Jones, and then we're going to unpack that really quickly. Well, let's do this. I don't know if Dr. G can do it, but let's do Van, and then if we could go right into Paula White, it would be great. So we could just talk about the both of them.
We forgot you were about to lose your job.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
There you go. Can we get some footage on that?
Yes. Because, baby, I've been jamming that in my car.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
You about to lose that job. You about to lose that job. You about to lose that job. Oh my goodness. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You are paying me or nothing. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You are paying me or nothing.
Just
You were about to lose your job.
Oh my God. Did you see them marching around in front of the White House when he got back from Florida singing it?
Yes.
I loved it.
Now, that is the theme song for 2020 at this point.
Yeah. We're going to be singing up to January 20th, 11:59 a.m.
Now, you know it. We're going to be in D.C. I'm going to be singing it there with my AKA jacket on. Baby, I got me a bad pink brim with a I'm gonna get
I have a pink brim too.
Okay. And you about to lose your job. Hey.
But wait a minute, before we go there, let's look at this Van Jones clip because I really do want to unpack that.
Okay.
Van, what are your thoughts?
It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know, and you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you, and you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters. You know, I just want my sons to look at this. Look at this. You know, it's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around. And this is a good day for this country. I'm sorry for the people who lost. For them, it's not a good day. But for a whole lot of people, it's a good day.
We break and divide every demonic confederacy against the election, against America, against that who you have declared to be in the White House. We break it up in the name of Jesus. We lose confusion into every demonic confederacy directed right now at this election, directed specifically at the 6 states. We come against people that are working at high levels right now with demonic confederacies and secrecies and demonic plans and networks. We break it up and we command that it be exposed right now in the name of Jesus. strike and strike. The angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus. From South America. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa. From South America. Angelic forces. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Pika hata anda ata. Ora bata rata anda eke manda rasata. For I hear the sound of victory. 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 I hear the sound of victory.
First off, guys, make sure y'all share on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we are Truth to Power Uncut, and we're about to get uncut and raw right now. Let's start with Van, and we're going to work our back to the white demon, okay?
Okay.
So what are your thoughts on Van?
Van, he was, to me, he was transparent. You can feel the relief from him. You can feel like, oh, by the time we got somebody that's gonna act as a president and not just use money to get where he's trying to go and what he's trying to do. This is where my child can actually see that this is how you're supposed to be. So to me, it was kind of like he felt some joy, he felt some relief, kind of like a lot of the older people who, when they found out that Biden won, that was the same vibe that they had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're done with the foolishness. It's like we're no longer in this abusive relationship. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a new day. You know what I mean? Now we can breathe. Now we can take our country back. Now our children can see that this is what our country is supposed to be. This is what our ancestors fought for us to have this type of freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were under a totalitarian. That's what it was. That's what it was. So that was what I got from it, and I felt it. Like I did.
Yeah. Well, I used to like Van Jones, so I'm gonna be kind because I used to like him pre Donald Trump, and I'm starting to like him again post Donald Trump, right? So I want to make sure I give that statement. But I found his tears to be a bunch of bullshit. I immediately thought about 2016 before the election when he was cheering Hillary Clinton. He was out for Hillary Clinton. And then the day after the election, he went on CNN saying that Black people need to give Donald Trump a chance. 2 weeks later, he was caught at the White House shucking and jiving with Ivanka and her everything husband, because he was trying to get a Black coalition going that he wanted to lead. He wanted to be paid to lead the coalition.
So he wanted to go Ice Cube.
Yeah, but Donald Trump gave him his ass to kiss, and he did not do the coalition. But then 2 months later, Kim Kardashian used her celebrity, because her celebrity is bigger than a Van Jones, and Donald Trump loves the limelight because, you know, Kim Kardashian is doing her I forgot what it's called, but she's doing her thing. Oh, there's a picture. She's doing her I guess you could call it her intern at Van Jones. She's doing her apprenticeship for law school at Van Jones's law firm. So she went to Donald Trump and she was able to get the Black woman off, and then 3 more Black women, but not by the help of Van Jones, but by the help of 2 Black attorneys that do not work for Van Jones law firm. And then he started back kicking it with Donald Trump because he wanted to be the ambassador of Switzerland. And so the night that Donald Trump introduced his ambassadors, he was there with what's the girl named Candace Owens, shucking and jiving again. He was carrying on again. I think we have some pictures of that, but he was shucking and jiving again. And Donald Trump, there we go. And Donald Trump yet again gave him his ass to kiss. And that is when he stopped riding on the Donald Trump train. But leading up to that, he was an apologist for Donald Trump. And I remember specifically, I was so angry. He got into a huge argument with Chris Cuomo on Chris Cuomo's show because Chris Cuomo was saying that Donald Trump has not done anything for Black people. He just says he's done it. And he told him, just because you say it doesn't make it so. And Van Jones was given all types of pushback, right? And I'm thinking to myself, this is a Black man fussing with a white man about another white man doing Black people wrong. And he's on the side of the white man that's doing the Black people wrong. But I'll let it go because he did wake up after Donald Trump gave him his ass to kiss the second round. And then he started being anti-Donald Trump. But in the midst of him being anti-Donald Trump, he was still playing it very safe with the Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, right? Very safe because he's always like Kamala Harris, but he was always on the line with Joe Biden. So he was always being safety first, right? But then when he started seeing that Donald Trump was actually going to lose, then he became completely anti-Donald Trump. So his tears did not move me the way they moved others, and that's okay. That is okay that it did not move me that way. Do we have the picture of Donald Trump? I'm sorry. That was a picture of Donald Trump and Van Jones. I want to show you this picture before we talk about it. Now, if you look at this picture, you have Van Jones reaching over the other white people, shooting him a thumbs up. And Donald Trump is becking, oh, there's my Black. So every tear that dropped from his Black face reminded me of every interview that he did when he apologized for Donald Trump. And his words verbatim was, Black people need to give Donald Trump a chance. But then you wake up on Saturday night in tears, and you say, families are waking up a better people today. And you talk about the Trayvon Martin, and you talk about the George Floyd having the knee on his neck. And I felt every word he said, Dr. Matthews. I believed him. I believe that he really has changed his mind. My issue is, just like I said about Miss Perla representing Black American white people, he was a great representation of heterosexual Black male toxic energy and white people, because Black heterosexual men have it beat in their head that they are the number two oppressors, first white men and then Black men. So when the oppressor makes you feel like you are somehow a part of the game, you become an oppressor yourself. How dare you go on live television for 3 full years apologizing for this creep and then come back and acknowledge that he was a creep? I need you to first acknowledge that I was wrong with what I said. I was misguided. I was misled. I really believe this.
Some form of accountability.
But he had no form of accountability. So your tears are not worth it to me. If a man beats on his wife and the next day takes her to breakfast, that breakfast does not excuse or justify him beating on her the night before. So what I'm saying is that we have to stop having these toxic domestic relationships within our own race and stop being so damn forgiving. If Kim Burrell is still on the Chitlin circuit in Texas, singing at every Black gospel church that will allow her because of what she said about the LGBTQ community, then a Van Jones, a Kevin Hart, a Ice Cube, a Lil Wayne, they need to deal with the same repercussions, because Black women get tore up when they say something, but Black men are often forgiven, and that has to stop, or we will find ourselves with another Van Jones. We'll find ourselves calling somebody that is a pure follower a leader all over again. What's my spiel on that?
My whole thing with that was, you asked me specifically what I felt by watching that. You know what I'm saying? And when I watched that was what I got from
It was sincere because you hadn't seen all the rest, you know. So it was just I wanted to know your emotions. Because you weren't alone. But you were not alone. I cried. You know I'm two-faced. I cried.
Because I mean the way how he made the delivery, the way I literally felt where he was coming from, because this is what we've been talking about all along.
Yeah, but we've been talking about it for 3 years. For 3 years, we've been talking about it, but he didn't get the memo until 3 years, 3 months, and 5 weeks.
So he stopped eating the general chicken.
Yeah. Well, it took Trump backstabbing him for him to get it. So he did it. And he didn't change his mind because he cared about others. He changed his mind because he cared about himself. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's a very selfish way of living when you pick who you're promoting based on how it affects you directly, rather than how it impacts the whole race of people that's following behind you. You are selfish, and I don't trust you. And with Van Jones, I don't trust him. I've never really trusted a man that's 5'9" anyway.
You know what? I'm done. I'm not gonna play with you. Okay, so now let's get to the Paula White situation.
Oh, Sister Paula.
Okay, you know what? You know they got a song with her too, right?
Yes.
Dr. G, you have that video?
I don't think we have that.
I thought I sent it to him because it was also on TikTok. And
Okay, he said not yet.
Yeah, they did her. They did her real good.
So what did you think about Paula though? Because did you see her response video?
You know what? I didn't get a chance to see the response video.
Oh, sister walked out with her sweatsuit on and her Adidas tennis shoes, and she told y'all, call me, holler at me, come here and talk to me face to face. Don't hide behind. Yeah. I went on her page and I typed my number in. Then I inboxed her and I gave her my number and said, hit me up. We can have this conversation, sis.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. See, my thing with Paula White, and it's like she, with this talking in tongue business that she was doing. Did you see that one? And it's called Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse went up the clock. I'm like, okay, you know what? Paula White, go sit your ass down. Go sit down. And then what got me, you over here talking about the angel of the black angel ancestors. Oh yeah, they showed you something, boo.
She wanted y'all to come from Africa. She was very clear. She said she wanted the angels to come from Africa and South America. Mama was very, very clear. And I'm very, very clear with her. But there's a book that was called To End the Evangelical. And in the book To End the Evangelical, it's very misleading, right? The book title is To End the Evangelical, but that's not what it's about. The book itself is talking about how this newer age Christianity stole the word evangelical and made it match what they wanted it to match.
You know what? I was listening to something about that, matter of fact, on today.
Oh, really?
About how they were, how they used this even during the slavery time. Try to brainwash the slaves.
Yeah. But this is my issue with the church, though, right? My issue with the church is the same issue I have with white people that don't speak out on racism, with the same issue I have with black men that don't speak out against toxic masculinity, same issue I have with women that don't talk about womanizers. You know, the issue I have with it is, where are the black preachers and why aren't they speaking out? Why aren't they saying this is not correct? You wonder why your churches are dying and why people are no longer knocking the door down on Sunday, even if it's Second Sunday musical, youth musical. Why they're not coming to that no more? They don't go to the jamboree because you don't have their back outside of the church. This is the time where I need to hear a T.D. Jakes with his platform denounce what she did. Denounce what the pastor in Dallas did, where they are literally telling their members to vote for Donald Trump. There is supposed to be a clear separation in partisanship when it comes to Christianity, because that is supposed to be the one place that we can all agree on. That is where we should be able to go for peace. But instead, you are doing a prayer. And she was very specific in her prayer, sister. She said the 6 states. So Mama straight up called.
But okay, I'm still on what you just said. So she had her sweatpants on, like telling people pull up.
Mm-hmm. Like a street person.
Oh,
like a street person.
Dang, I wish Dr. G could just put this video up, because I'm telling you that's another one. But I mean, with Paula White, you are a false prophet. Okay, Paula White, you stay with the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Paula White, I'm one of the ones that will pull up with some sweatsuit.
Oh, girl, she was in Houston.
Oh, really? I wish I would have saw that.
If she was in Houston, we would have been there. We would have been doing Truth to Power in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Paula White is just.
What made her think that this was okay?
You know, well, this is just an example, though. What we're seeing, we blame Donald Trump for everything because he is the king of this foolishness. But the reality is he is not the creator of this foolishness.
It's been there.
And it's been there. And so what he's been able to do is to uncover and reveal people to us. Excuse me. But he has literally been able to just reveal the true America. I said in one of my videos earlier this week, and what I said was the America that we keep saying we want to get back to wasn't right either. The difference was these people were hiding, but their emotions, their character, and their intent was still there. We still had Michelle Obama being called a monkey. We still had birthism coming from the man who's now president to Barack Obama. We still had people in Senate calling Barack, as though he was just a nigga on the street. Like, this is what we already had. This America has never been great. So when they say America, when he said making America great again, and then white people who didn't like him said America was already great. No, America has never been great. We have never reached that equality. The greatness that they're talking about, we haven't met. And if we haven't met them, our forefathers haven't met them. We've come a long way, but we have not met equality yet. We are still in slavery, period. They just allow us enough to say we're existing. But the rule is, I want you to run fast, but not faster than me.
Well, that was enough said on that part. Well, then let's transition over here to the Georgia runoffs. Because I thought for sure he had that until them ballots said, boop, leave a message.
Yeah. Well, you know, the runoff, which is going to be really good because I'm rooting for Ossoff.
Oh, the Senate runoff.
Yeah, the Senate runoff let's be clear. Tillerson was finally endorsed tonight. They said that he has won North Carolina. So now it's 49-48. So if Georgia wins both of those, if the Senate goes to the Democrat in Georgia, then it will be 50-50. There will be no House lead, no lead House. Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, will be the tiebreaker. So the Republicans are shifting all of their attention to Georgia because it will change everything. It will change every single thing. Now, the other part of that to remember, probably the most important part, is when people say, why is Mitch McConnell not saying anything? Why is Lindsey Graham saying this and they know it's wrong? Ted Cruz, because they need Donald Trump's base. People forget that most of the Republicans, I would say 25% of who's voting Republican today are people who are not actually Republicans. They became Republicans following behind Donald Trump. So their fear is if they denounce Donald Trump, they're going to lose those voters and they're going to risk losing both of those seats to Democrats. If the Democratic Party owns the House, the Senate, and the executive administration, that is doomsday for Republicans. So they're going to do all they can. They're going to put all their money and effort into Georgia because they want Lori, what's her name? Lofton. They want Lofton to win, and they definitely don't want Ossoff to win. Ossoff is having a hard chance anyway. He's like 3 points behind, but Lofton, whatever her name is, she's behind the good Reverend, the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the former church of Martin Luther King and Martin Luther King Jr. and Sr. Yeah, but he's killing her. But Georgia, everything is on Georgia.
But this the same chick that went and started moving her money when she knew that things wasn't looking too hot in that way.
As soon as she knew that the pandemic was coming, she was on the special. She was on a special cabinet, and as soon as she found out, her husband moved all of their stocks. He shifted all of their stocks. So you are correct, and a lot of people don't talk about that, but that is a big deal because that was illegal. Number one, it was illegal.
Like I said, I'm waiting on the Trump and his whoever else that's involved with this foolishness. I'm waiting for him to go to jail. I'm waiting for him to be held accountable.
So do you think he's going to go to jail?
I think he is. And I love the statement that Biden made was that trespassers will be escorted off.
Yeah. It's gonna be deep. So Georgia, we are with you. I have 2 trips planned to Georgia because Georgia has to show up, but we need Atlanta, Savannah, and Augusta has to really show up in big numbers.
That's all you need.
Yeah, but they have to show up even bigger than they did in the general election. They have to. They have to show up if we want both of them because
I think they're energized. I think they energized, and I think that they will show up.
Well, you know, the problem is that only fact that we have in the world to always rely on is history. And history says that whenever there's a runoff election, campaigning goes down. Like the enthusiasm goes down.
They said that. Look what Stacey Abrams did.
Well, but Stacey, I said the second time for a runoff because Stacey lost.
I think they energized because to me, this is my opinion. I think they energized because they want this foolishness to stop.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we have to keep the energy. They are. I think they're energized today. But what I'm saying is the day after Thanksgiving, we have to be even angrier than today. The day after Christmas has to be even angrier than today. The day after New Year's has to be even angrier. Yes.
That same momentum, and I think pull it off.
Well, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to be on the ground running like I was with Miami. I'm going to be on the ground running.
You was in the midst of it, huh?
Oh, I wasn't playing while I was in Miami. Everybody, my friend Nathan that was on the show, we were in an Uber on the way to the airport to come back to Houston, and I was talking to the Uber driver. Did you vote? Are you going to vote tomorrow, sir?
When y'all was out eating and how those the Biden people.
Oh yes, baby.
I love it,
baby. If I tell you the enthusiasm in Miami-Dade was so energizing, that's why people's like Miami-Dade always votes Republican. I was like, no, I don't think they're voting Republican this year. So I wasn't surprised at all when Miami-Dade voted Democrat because those people were energized. Now I did run into some Cubans that were ignorant because if you were in Florida though, it was disgusting. Every other commercial was a Donald Trump commercial line. Like they were straight up making Joe Biden look like Adolf Hitler. Like it was disgusting. But that leads us to our final subject. Did the far left go too far left, and did it hurt or help the Democratic Party?
But wait, we forgot one thing though.
What?
How Trump refused the transition.
No surprise here.
He don't want to concede at all.
But you know, why are people surprised?
That is embarrassing.
It is, but are you really surprised?
No.
You know, we learned as children, a zebra doesn't change its stripes. And then Maya Angelou came and told us when someone tell you who they are, believe them the first time. Donald Trump told us every chance he got, anytime a reporter asked him, will you make an easy transition? He said, if it's legal, if the votes are legal. He told us every play-by-play what he was going to do. We were just not listening. But he told us. He said if it's legal, he played it. He already had attorneys the day before November the 3rd. November the 2nd, they announced all the states where he had attorneys already filing junctures.
Yeah, but then the thing is, you're doing this stuff, and them judges is just throwing the stuff out.
Yeah, they are, but the damage is still being done. But the damage is dangerous, right? The damage is dangerous because it's inciting more violence. People don't understand what an autocracy is. There's a difference between a dictatorship and an autocracy. What Donald Trump is producing is an autocracy because he is empowering. He has now given the Republican Party legs that they did not know existed. And so they have forgotten all of their decency. They've forgotten all of their sophistication. All of their regalities are out the window. Now they know how to play dirty and throw mud in people's faces, and that's all they know. We have to start throwing mud back. The difference in a white boy with a gun and a black boy with a gun is a white boy gonna show his gun to scare you, but a black boy gonna shoot you and your mama. They better stop playing. They better stop playing before things get real nasty, because the war they're looking for, they're not ready for it. They're not. They're not ready for it. Mitch McConnell feels real bad and bossy when he's talking shit, but he will be gagged if his great-granddaughter comes home with a bullet in her back. That's how it happens when you play with blacks and Latinos, because y'all have treated us like animals for so long that we don't know how to fight outside of animalistic behavior.
Yeah.
Ooh. So he's getting his ass out of there. Be clear. The Constitution is on our side. He doesn't ever have to concede. The Constitution doesn't say you must say I lost. Come on now.
Well, like he said, like President-elect Biden stated, trespassers will be escorted.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting out of there, girl. Like, that's like a no-brainer. I'm not even concerned with that. He's getting up out of there. The problem is, what is he going to create on his way out the door?
In the jail cell, because who's your judge?
But I'm just hoping we don't go for another civil war. You know, I'm just hoping that we don't go toward another civil war, because if nothing else, the last 3 years has taught us that when we start screaming that everything should be about us, and I always say we're just 12.7% of the population. We have to continue to be in community with other races if we actually want to do something, because he's had his knee on all of our necks for 3.5 years now. And that's just an example of what could happen if we ever give up full power to them. This is what can happen. So lastly, can we just discuss, did the far left go too far left?
What's your opinion on that?
My opinion is yes. I think that Donald Trump won. I mean, it's reality. It's not even a debate about it, right? Donald Trump won Florida because he was fear-mongering Venezuelans and Cubans off of this socialism, communism bullcrap. If you ever have gone to Florida, if you know anything about Florida, you know the Latinx community are the white people of Florida. They are at least 70% of the population of Florida. And he was successful at doing that. That was not a talking point or a speaking point of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Those are two moderate Democrats. That was not their speaking point, but that is the speaking point of AOC, of a Bernie Sanders, of a Ilhan Omar. Like, that is their speaking point. Not that they are talking about the socialism that Cubans have experienced, but because they use that word socialism, it gives them free reign to play with it. The other thing is Texas and Alaska. We lost that because of the no fracking. We don't want to do fracking anymore. That was a speaking point that Joe Biden also picked up from Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders grabbed it from the AOCs of the party, right? And so Texas, yeah, we agree that we have to do something about the pollution and all of these things, because we do know that global warming is real. But
a refinery.
Yeah, but it's connected to so many jobs. So when he said no fracking, it scared them. It made them afraid because they were thinking you're trying to erase our jobs. When in fact, what Joe Biden broke down on his page, but people don't read, they just headline holes, right? But what he broke down on his page was that it was creating even more jobs.
But see, what he did was when we were looking at that debate, and when he said that was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, oh shit, he should have said that one.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It should not have come out. But again, this was a curse of the far left because he had to play this game with the far left in order for him to get the support. And he is progressive. Joe Biden is very progressive. He stood his 77-year-old wide ass on that stage, and he denounced white supremacy and white nationalists without any hesitation. He sat there and he started off by thanking the African American community, and he said, "You've always had my back and I will always have yours." And then he went on to all the other races, and then he had the audacity to sit there and say that we should celebrate and acknowledge the LGBTQ community, and then he called them out gay men, lesbian women, and transgendered. He was not afraid. So he is very progressive. But the issue with the left is they want what they want and nothing else. And that is, and I've considered myself far left, but I'm not ignorant far left. Okay. I'm intelligent far left because I understand what it means to be in government. The problem is the AOCs of the world and the Omar and Bernies of the world, they are activists. They never should have gone into politics, but they wanted to get paid for their activism. Well, when you go into politics, you have to compromise. There is no such thing as just getting it passed. It has to be bipartisan unless you have the power. If you don't have the power, you need others to vote. And so what it cost the Democrats was it cost the Democrats of North Carolina, the House seats. It cost the House seats in Wisconsin. It cost the House seats of Missouri. It cost 2 House seats in Texas. These are realities. And so AOC goes on the interview. She said, "Well, we want. I brought us New York, and Ilhan Omar brought us Minnesota, baby. The Democratic Party has had New York and Minnesota for the past 50 years. If you are stupid enough to think that you brought it, you're crazy. We've always had New York and California is a given. Democratic Party can sit on their hands when it comes to New York and California. They ain't got no worries over there. So, baby, you didn't bring that, but you cost us." But I say at my job all the time, I tell the owner of the company, because he's always getting on me about how aggressive I am and how I'm quick to fire and suspend people. I don't care. But I always I'm that person. But I'm like that for a reason, because if I don't care how good you are at your job, if you negatively impact everybody else in the office, you're not helping me. You're hurting me. So I don't care how good you are. I would rather have 50 people that can do an average job than one person that can go above average but make everybody else quit or make them not do their job well. Yeah. AOC is an excellent person, but she is not doing good by her party. And then she's using Twitter the same way Donald Trump uses Twitter. Now she's on there telling him who he should have in his in his cabinet or else. And she's literally saying, she literally said, if he wants to be progressive in 2024, girl, you think Biden is the first Democratic president? You're crazy. You're stupid. You think they need AOC to win? So, yeah, I think that the far left has become the Tea Party of the Democratic Party. They have become the Lincoln Project of the Democratic Party.
But you know what I think, though? I think the Democratic Party also need to also recognize that they need to be more, how can I say this? It's, as far as dealing with African Americans, to me is that the Democratic Party need to be more reputable of African Americans than what they really are at this point right now.
But I don't understand that, though. I mean, many people feel the way you feel, but I find it to be selfish. Like, I find that to be so selfish.
But no, I understand with the other races, but I'm talking about African Americans because they take us for granted in certain instances.
But how do they? But when you say they take, when I hear people say that the Democratic Party takes black people for granted, I always want to remind them that 48% of the leadership of the Democratic Party are black people. So when you say the Democratic Party takes you for granted, I always have to remind people that it wasn't until 1967 or 65 when black people could even vote. But by the early 1970s, the Democratic Party gave us Shirley Chisholm. And Shirley Chisholm was the first black Senate woman, and she ran for president. 7 years after black people were even able to vote. So when you say it, I'm like, we want it all at one time. But we have to understand that the Democratic Party can't be considered the perfect party. That's just simply not going to happen.
I'm not saying that they need to be considered the perfect party, but with going forward, matter of fact, hold on, I got something that I'm about to pull up. Hold up.
Well, while you pulling it up, I just want to make sure that people understand that I'm not saying that black people should be looked over. What I'm saying is that black people have to learn how to share space. That's what I'm pointing out, is that black people have to learn how to share space. We expect the Democratic Party to heal the world for black people. And in doing that, we take all responsibility off of the Republican Party. But the reality is America has to do better by black people. We can't just say Democrats have to do, because they can't do it by themselves. They just simply can't. Especially when you have a Senate that's Republican, you have presidents that are Republican. What is the miraculous thing that the Democratic Party is supposed to do if they still have to have bipartisanship? I'm sorry. So how can they do that by themselves? We have to start putting fire under Republicans also. You can't keep expecting Democrats to be perfect. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I have to find it. I think, you know what, I'm going to bring, that'll be another show because I want to make sure that I have.
But what was it, like statistics on like?
Yeah, see, I want to make sure that I have that before I start.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Well, we can talk about it again, but I just want to make sure that people understand that I always try and put everything into, give a visual for it, right? So when we say that, I'm like, okay, well, there's only one party that has produced a minority president, and that was the Democratic Party with Barack Obama.
It's something else, but I would, like I said, we will save that for another show because I want to make sure that I have everything so I can argue my point. Because right now,
well, no, but I don't want you to think that I'm not, because I do think that black people still should be, but black people still should be celebrated. I do think that we don't get what we should get, but I think that we don't get it from America is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I want to be able to, I want to be able to have the stuff that I need so I can be able to express the point more, so you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. See, I got to look for. I don't have.
I know, and well, it's kind of on the spot. Yeah, I get it.
Conversation, because baby, I have all of it. I just got to get it.
Right, and I want you to have it so we can really have an effective conversation with it, because I don't think that black people are getting everything we deserve. But what I'm saying is that I think that it's misdirected. We direct it toward the Democratic Party versus directing it toward the United States of America. Like, I think that people have to, like when people say, well, the Republicans are the ones that freed us.
It should be both.
It should, because it's America.
It should be both, but it's something that is specifically that I would like to address as far as dealing with the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I will say that I'm not going to go into as far as what it deals with the Royce West race. You know what I'm saying?
In Texas.
I'll get into all of that. That'll be another conversation.
When MJ beat him, you talking about when MJ beat him? For Texas Senate. If you don't know what she's talking about, she's saying for Texas Senate, Royce was running, they primaried, and MJ won. First off, either one of them, it don't matter which one it was, they was going to lose. Cornyn is the Sheila Jackson Lee of the white community. They were going to, he's just a familiar name. When people go in there to vote, they say, oh, Cornyn, I don't know the rest of them, right? We have to stop putting people for Senate. It's going to be very difficult for Texas for black people to break through anyway, but especially for a Democrat senator, it's hard by itself. But for a black, it's going to be even harder. But we have to start we don't plan. Black people, we have to come together and plan our politics. And we don't do that, right? Because Sheila Jackson Lee could have been run for senator. And she would win because of her name. But she just runs for House Rep. But she could have been went to Senate. But she likes Rep better because Rep is dealing with congressional districts and all of those things. No. But it's so she's comfortable. But she could be the Cornyn. She could be the Cornyn. Like Sylvester Turner could walk out of being mayor and be Cornyn. You have to have a name. You have to have a familiar. But I want him to walk out and be governor.
It's the Hot Wheels.
Yeah. But Sheila could do that too. Sheila could be governor of Texas. Like the problem is we keep putting unknown. Well, I like Beto. I've been saying Beto should have went for governor instead of running for Senate.
He's gonna run.
Yeah, but the thing is, we have to stop putting unknown people on ballots against very known people.
Well, see, the thing is, Royce West is very known.
Well, but Royce West was a black man. Yeah, but Royce West was still a black man. And MJ, first off, MJ was a white woman, but beyond her being a white woman, she was a white woman from the military. And she was, while she was in the military, she was fighting her ass off for injustices toward women and winning. So she came with claim, but she still did not have a name. We have to start putting people on ballots that have a name.
But just black.
Yeah, but we're talking about when you run for Senate, you need the whole state on your side. You know, congressional districts are only for reps.
But see, as we already know, we only have 2 African American senators in the Texas Senate.
Yeah,
and he's a senior senator.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Has a name.
Well, you know, I'm just gonna be real with you. You know how much I love politics. I love it. I sleep, wake up, everything. I didn't know who he was until you told me. And that's just the reality.
Who Royce West was?
Not until you told me.
He is the chair over the Higher Education Committee.
And again, I didn't know who he was, but I knew who MJ was.
Well, see, I don't know how you didn't know that one, boo.
Well, because I'm not just, but the reason. That's great, but the reason I didn't know is because I'm not necessarily cemented in Texas politics.
Well, then that's probably why you don't know.
Right, that is why. That's 100% why. Because I'm not. But I know Harold Dutton. I know other people. I know the Duttons of the world. I knew Sylvester before when he was a state rep. You know, I know them, but I did not know who he was. You were the first person to throw his name at me, and then of course, me being the way I am, I wanted to know everything about him after that. Because I'm very big on if somebody tells me something and I didn't know it, I get mad at myself. And I always feel like, why didn't you know it? So then I want to know everything. I want to know where you were born and I want to know if your daddy hit your mama when you was 5. I want to know everything after that. But my thing with the Democrats and the black community is that black community have to understand that the Democrats have to feed other bases. Because you have the whole Latinx beating up Joe Biden from start to finish because they said that they felt like he was putting all of his energy into the black community rather than the Latinx. But then you had the black community saying that they take them for granted. Somebody's lying. If the Latinx feel like you giving the black community all your attention, and then the blacks saying we still don't have enough, we have to understand that we have to share.
See, I want to definitely have this conversation when I have my statistics. I want to be able to have.
I'm curious about the stat.
Yeah,
I want the stat. I definitely want the stat.
I definitely want to have this conversation because I'm not the only one that has said this, and I have not. You know, it's been more people that have said this, so this will be another.
Oh yeah, well we hear it all the time. Yeah, well I hear it, but trust me, I hear it all the time.
Yeah,
like I hear, and there is merit. There is merit to it. So I don't want people to walk away saying that I'm saying that black people are getting what they deserve. What I'm saying is that we have to say America has done a disservice to black people for all that black people have done. Yeah, that's the part, is that America has done a disservice. America had us enslaved. There's so much miscommunication and miseducation. Like when people say, well, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican and he freed slaves. I'm like, okay, he freed slaves, promised reparations, but gave it to the slave owners. Okay, that makes sense. Next subject. Then they say, well, black people were Republicans in the beginning. Yeah, because they were down south, and down south Republicans ran it. We still are Republicans, and Alabama is still the poorest state. Mississippi still has the worst education. Like, so what's next subject? Next, that's why when Donald Trump say these Democratic states are the worst ones, are you serious? Are you serious, sir? Are you serious? But that's why I love when Chris Cuomo said, just because he says it doesn't make it so.
Correct.
But I have enjoyed tonight with you, Dr. Matthews.
We've been so busy. We
I know.
all have a part in this fight, and we all, if they can make 10 of us, I think it'll be good. Because right now, you over at the polls. I'm over at the polls. I'm with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. You doing your...
Maybe use with Cornell X. Use with everybody. Willie D.
We in the fight, okay?
And we also want to give a shout out to our other co-hosts, Dean Snell and Aurelia Johnson. They're not able to make it tonight. Dr. Johnson, okay, boom pop. Okay, but they doing the thing. Dean, good luck on your finals. He is actually working on some graduate studies, so we wish him nothing but the best. Because we know schools of semesters are ending early this year because of the incremency of the world right now. But Dr. Matthews, I love you so much. I've enjoyed it, guys. Make sure y'all share, and like, subscribe on YouTube. We are Truth to Power Uncut. We work hard to bring you all facts and push out truths, because that's how we fight, with our words and not our hands. And unless you're from the north side, and you have to.
And one thing that I love about us, we are actually in the fight. Okay, we don't just do the lip service.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would be best that you want to get your information from? You want to look at a podcast where you leave with something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very good stuff.
It's all about messy politics.
Yeah.
It's about being informed, being empowered, because we in the fight. Where y'all at?
That was so perfect how you put it, though, because that's real. We are getting our hands dirty. I tell people all the time that it doesn't mean anything if you make a post about it. Your post means nothing because there has no action behind it. Anybody can sit behind a keyboard and thumb their way through social activism and advocacy, but not many of us are willing to go on the front line and say, I'm willing to put my face and my name on this, that this is going to stop today. And that's what we do every day. And that's why I love what we do. I love the fight. And that goes for Dr. Aurelia Johnson, the identity princess, the identity professor, Dr. Aurelia Johnson. If you know anything about her, you know that she preach, teach, and read nothing but Black power all day, all night. She is pro-Blackness and pro-Black from start to finish. And then if you know anything about Dean Snell, he lives and breathes politics. And just like myself, he started off in that Republican Party, wised up, educated himself, and moved over a little bit to the left, but not far left. And we also want to thank Dr. GL, Dr. Goodluck. I was going to say his last name, but I don't want him to get mad at me if I miss one syllable. But I want to make sure that we thank him because, as always, he's doing an excellent job working with us. And he was mad at us all last week, guys, but we were busy. We were busy, but we're going to make up for it. We're going to make up for it. So y'all catch us at all times. And coming soon, we will be on Apple and Spotify. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled because it's about to get real.
Until next time.
Until next time. Blue, blue.
With you.
And the coffee.
Bye, guys.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
And that little girl was me.